What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel as you tune in and check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to react to a video that Scap Attack made about the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? And basically, he was saying in his video, he was saying that the Thunder are imploding, right? Because they kind of hit a snag in their season where they're not at first they was projected to win like over 70 games. Now people are saying that, they'll be lucky if they win 60, right? But I was surprised at the success that they was having early on in the season, how dominant they were. And the reason why I was surprised is because like they came off of a championship run, right? And I was thinking that coming off of a championship run, they might number one have like that championship hangover. Whereas though you kind of let your guard down, but they didn't show signs of having a hangover early. Then on top of that, number two, I was thinking that this year they are going to get everybody's A game. So they got a target on their back. So I was surprised when they were having the success that they were having early in the season, just because of the fact that everybody was going to give them their A game. And then for them to start out the season the way they did, like dominating the way they did, I was like, oh man, this team is special. But now lately it looked like they still a really good team. And in my opinion, I think they probably the best team. They still favored to come out of the West, in my opinion. But they come back to it, they really come back to the pack more so too. I think what it is, maybe teams have figured them out, and if that's the case, they have to make an adjustment, right? And just grind it out. But I still think that they're the favorite to come out of the West. So with that being said, man, I'm gonna play what the guy Scap says, and I want to give more of my reaction and what I think about the OKC Thunder.
Haven't even hit the All-Star game yet. The stretch run into the final segment of the regular season isn't even upon us. We aren't even close to the playoffs. So I struggle to say that the Oklahoma City Thunder should start panicking yet. But in reality, you might want to start panicking at this point, Oklahoma City Thunder. They were in action again, and they again got worked, absolutely abused, and beat down by the Minnesota Timberwolves, this time by a final score of 123-111. It marks the T-Wolves' second consecutive win now against these Thunder. And look, this game really wasn't even that close, not as close as that final 123-111 margin would indicate, because
so, all right, so the Timberwolves beat them 2 times. Then you got to remember that what was the Spurs, I think, beat them like 4 times. So there's some chinks in their armor that they have to work out, whereas though they can, let these teams know that they are, a force to be reckoned with. Like I said, I knew it was going to be like a back and forth, because a lot of teams know what they like to do, so they scheme against what OKC like to do. They don't allow them to, to play to their strengths. So it's going to be a back and forth. My thing is, I think that's good because now they have to raise their level of play, and then that's good for the fans because we get to see, like what they really made of. They made a championship run last year, which, like I said, was good. They won a championship, but this year, they are being hunted.
As the Timberwolves were up by 21 points with under 2 minutes to go in the third quarter of this game. They essentially led wire to wire, and they were up by double digits for most of this game. And the Wolves just virtually beat the Oklahoma City Thunder in every category. They outshot them from everywhere. The Wolves shot over 50% for the game, 51% to be precise. They were 22 of 47 were the Wolves from the three-point line. That's good for 47%. The Timberwolves out-rebounded the Oklahoma City Thunder by 10. And it was, of course, Anthony Edwards leading the way for the Minnesota Timberwolves. 26 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists for the Ant-Man tonight, and a game best +24 on the old plus-minus scale. And as for his counterpart, the reigning league MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and presumptive 2025-2026 league MVP. He is expected to defend that MVP award from a year ago and go back-to-back this season. And look, no shade on SGA. He was pretty good tonight. He is pretty good to great every single night. You can barely find one single game throughout the span of an entire season to be overly critical of this guy on. He had 30 points on 12 of 18 shooting. He was really the only viable offensive option on his entire team, but he did also register a minus 22 on the plus-minus scale.
See, and I think with OKC too, I don't think they're going to have a problem scoring. I think that championship teams need to make defense their calling card. You know, number one is you make it harder for your opponents to score. Number two, you get a lot of easy opportunities, you know, and just easy opportunities for them to score fast break points and stuff like that. So they need to make, I think that's what they need to tighten up on their defense, right? Their offense is not their problem. And even if they did have issues on offense, playing better defense will just make it easier for them to score because, like I said, you're getting fast break points. So that's where they need to really tighten up, I think, on their defense.
As the Ant-Man registered the best plus-minus of plus 24 for the entire game, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's minus 22 was the worst in the entire game. And back to the Oklahoma City Thunder and their panic meter right now. I guess they probably aren't panicking as they still have a fairly sizable 4-game lead in the Western Conference. But look, this team was 24-1. We were talking about not just 70 games, 75 games, 76 games, maybe even 77 games. And after that 24-1 start, they are now just 38-11. And look, I'm not very good at simple mathematics. By my estimate, that would mean that they've gone just 14-10 now over their last 24 games. That is no small sample size, and that is not a good record over that span of time. Their 38-11 record, while it still is narrowly the best record in the entire NBA, I do mean narrowly, because the Suns defeated the Pistons tonight. Otherwise, the Pistons and the Oklahoma City Thunder all of a sudden would have been tied in the loss column. Yeah, remember how I mentioned 75, 76, 77 wins was what we were talking about just about a month and a half ago? But it looked like at least 70 wins was all but a foregone conclusion. The Oklahoma City Thunder's current pacing right now has them looking like only a 63-64 win team. And at this current rate that they've been playing over their last 24 games now, where they're just 14-10, hell, they'll be lucky to even get to 60 wins. 60. This team is falling apart before our very eyes, but
I don't think they're falling apart. Like I said, they definitely gonna have to tighten up their game. I think that the Spurs, got their number. Minnesota knows that they can compete with them. They know that they can beat them. And so, like I said, I think that OKC is really going to have to tighten up on their defense. But OKC, and I think it's great to get into it. I think OKC has some injury issues that they're dealing with too.
A lot of it is due to injury, in my estimation, which is a tale as old as time in the Western Conference for the upper echelon teams. Now, the Oklahoma City Thunder haven't been hit as hard with injuries as, say, the Denver Nuggets, who just caught some more terrible news today. Aaron Gordon is yet again out with a right hamstring strain. Stop me if you've heard this one. This same hamstring that kept him out, or at least from being any facsimile of his effective self in Game 7 last year in their elimination game against the Oklahoma City Thunder. It was the same injury that kept him out this year for about 7 weeks at the beginning of the season, and now he is going to be reevaluated in 4 to 6 weeks. Does it look like Aaron Gordon is going to be healthy at all for the playoffs? It's short.
I think that's a big injury, though, for the Denver Nuggets, Aaron Gordon, because not just on the offensive end, but more importantly, I think his defense, what he brings to the table defensively, I think the Nuggets are really going to need his presence defensively. So uh, if he is able to come back, like will he be as effective defensively as has he been in the past? I don't know. That's going to be a tough decision.
Doesn't to me. And that 4 to 6 week time frame on that injury is the 7th such estimation that a Nuggets player has received this season. The 7th 4 to 6 week injury time frame for a Denver Nuggets player, and 6 of those designations have come to starters on the squad. No team in recent memory, hell, probably ever, has been as affected by injury as the Denver Nuggets are. But it's not just the Nuggets. The Houston Rockets just lost Steven Adams to season-ending surgery. They are already, of course, without their starting point guard, Fred VanVleet, who tore his ACL over this summer. He didn't even start this year off. And really, those are, in my estimation, the 2 top competitors that would threaten.
Yeah, I just think like the West, man, is just going to be so competitive in the West still, even with the injuries and stuff like that. Like you said, OKC really don't have as many injuries as or significant, there's significant people out with injury like Houston. I don't know, Steven Adams. I like Şengün. I think Şengün can pick up the slack, now with the Denver Nuggets, I think, like I said, the Gordon, I think that's big for them because his defensive presence will definitely be missed, right? I think OKC, like I said, to me, I think they still the favorites to come out of the West, even though the Spurs beat them 4 times, man. I think OKC is going to be up for the challenge. And that's a good thing about it, is we get to see this thing play out in the playoffs. But that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, I'm going to check you out in the next video. Peace.